let's start it off with the OG bullpup here. All right, feels pretty good. So one thing you'll notice when you shoot a bullpup though is it doesn't have like a really precise trigger, okay? But I can tell you it does feel good enough to get the job done. Welcome back everybody, Clint here today with Classic Firearms out here at Take Aim Training and Range, here to talk about some very popular bullpups and maybe which one is better. So we've got one that you guys should be familiar with right now. It's been showing up a little bit on the channel for some obvious reasons. This is the Steyr AUG, chambered in 5.56, really cool bullpup rifle. This is the OG bullpup in my mind, the one that pretty much set the standard, if you will. This is the one that was probably the most successful production run bullpup design. And for those of you that don't know, what is a bullpup rifle? What does it have to qualify as? Because there's some people on the internet who says M16s or M4s or ARs are bullpups because they kick like a dog. Just look up the video, it exists. No, that's absolutely incorrect. The reason these are referred to as bullpups is because of the inherent design of the firearm. In other words, take a look at where the trigger mechanism is in, well, comparison to where the chambering and extracting takes place. On most rifles, that takes place forward of the trigger mechanism, but in a bullpup design, which overall shortens the overall length of the gun, it actually takes place, the chambering, extracting, and all that type of fun stuff takes place rearward of the trigger. Pretty cool. Pros and cons to that entire system, but this isn't so much a bullpup versus standard rifle. This is the Tavor versus the AUG, but I just want you guys to have an understanding as to what a bullpup is, all right? So with that being said, the Steyr AUG 1970s, mid to late 1970s is when this guy started to be produced. It was originally with a 1.5 power optic sitting on top. That's, I think, is actually a Swarovski, which is pretty nice. But this is the latest iteration, the A3 model. The A3 model, you'll notice, has some Picatinny rail sections. Also on the side where we have our Surefire light, which you can actuate with just utilizing your trigger finger right up here. Easy enough to do. And then on top of that, your charging handle is over here on the left-hand side. It is not ambidextrous. You cannot flip this to the other side. All right, now it might kind of look like you can, but if you take a little bit better, closer look, you cannot. You notice this little area where this has to ride? Well, it's got to go somewhere, and it doesn't have that on the other side, even if you remove the Picatinny rail section. All right, so just keep that in mind. All right, so in other areas, what makes this gun so cool? Well, other than it looking futuristic and it feels really good, it is an actual ergonomic gun to shoot. The recoil impulse feels very, very good. It's chambered in 5.56, so it's not going to kick that bad anyway. So how does it compare to, let's say, something a little bit more modern? The IWI Tavor, this gun is, well, the latest iteration that you see right here is the, or generation, I guess you could say, the X95. This is a really neat bullpup also. Now, it didn't always look like this. Take a look at like the TAR 21, the SAR, things like that. They've got just a little bit different design to them, but you'll notice this one has some better ergonomics, I think personally, than the Steyr AUG, and also some a little bit better features as well. So let's talk about what those features are. Both of these each have 16-inch barrels. Okay, cool. Steyr has their own style of muzzle device or flash hider right up front. Standard A2 right up here on the Tavor. Both of them have the Picatinny rail sections that run all the way up top. Easy enough, but you'll notice one funny little thing about the AUG is look at their QD placement for your sling. It's a weird place, if you ask me, but also I don't know where else they could put it, so at least they added it, right? So that works. Notice it on the Tavor, you have it on both sides sitting right up here on the front. Easy enough. It's on the side, not sitting on top. It's out of the way. Cool, easy enough. You'll also notice the Picatinny rail sections on the Tavor go all the way around. They're just hidden by these covers that you see. So if I push down on this gridded area here and then kind of slide up, you'll notice that exposes your Picatinny section. I can take that all the way out just like that. So now you can add flashlights or IR, lasers, whatever you want to do. Same thing for the bottom. Undo that and it'll expose the Picatinny rail section that you can throw an angled foregrip on, or a vertical grip, or whatever you want. Easy enough. And to slide it back on, just go in the exact same manner. just like that. Easy enough. And I have seen some people kind of ride these out a little bit, exposing some of the rail sections, so that way they can, you know, still use whatever part of the Picatinny, and then that gives you a little bit more, I guess, surface area to grip it. Looks kind of cool if you ask me, but I don't know how practical that really is, because I don't typically attach things back here. I attach them forward so it's easier to manipulate and my hands aren't in the way, especially if it's a light, then I'm just going to be causing shadows on myself, or it's going to be cumbersome. I don't know, people do weird stuff on the internet. But anyway, all right, coming back a little bit further, the other thing you'll notice is, unlike the Steyr AUG, the charging handle is actually ambidextrous on this guy. It is non-reciprocating, just like as is the Steyr AUG, non-reciprocating. That's great. And well, now that it's all locked back, send the bolt home, easy enough. There you go. So I can flip it from the right side to the left side if I wanted to. You'll also take a look at the magazine release. This is much more familiar to us AR shooters, or, you know, a lot of modern rifles having the mag release right here where your trigger finger rests when you have it straightened off the trigger. Easy enough. On the Steyr AUG, right back here is the mag release. Now what's kind of funny is that the mag release is in the position here where the bolt release is on the Tavor. Some people prefer this, some people prefer that, and we're gonna do a little bit of shooting here in just a minute and do a comparison of which one I might prefer. I have my idea, but I'm not gonna spoil anything right now, all right? You'll also notice the safety. The safety on the Steyr AUG is a little cross bolt design that sits right behind the trigger, and then on the Tavor, very similar again to your AR style trigger as far as its positioning goes, right there. Cool, easy enough. One other thing you'll notice, both of these rifles are right-hand extraction or ejection, I should say, for those spent rounds to come off to the right side, which is great for a right-handed shooter. But if you're a lefty and you're doing that extraction or the shooting and the ejection of those rounds are coming right across your face. However, both of these are actually ambidextrous in that sense. All you have to do is replace the current bolt that is in the rifle, or rifles, I should say. Replace the bolt for a left-hand bolt, and now all of a sudden, and then you switch your cover to the other side, and now it will actually extract on the left-hand side, which makes things a little bit easier for, again, you left-handed shooters. Sweet, makes sense. But if you did need to switch from one shoulder to the other, that's fine, but just remember you're gonna have that brass coming right across your nose, which can be kind of intimidating, especially when you take a look at where the brass is hitting on this gun. So the Tavor does have a brass deflector, which is a nice little thing. It is natural for the 5.56 round and any type of rotating bolt for those rounds to kind of come back, hit the side of the gun, and they get launched whichever direction. And what you'll notice is right here on the AUG, we've got a couple little dings here from where those brass, you know, the brass is being extracted, and then hits right back here on the stock. Okay. So, you know, if your face is about right here, that's going to come right back. So just, you know, take that in mind. So cool. Now that we've pretty much talked about the externals of the guns and how they feel, that's great and all. What about the internals? This right here, again, the older design, actually was designed to replace the FAL. Interesting. Does utilize the same operating system as the FAL, which was a short stroke piston driven system. Right up here, there is actually a piston withheld in this small portion of the actual gun, right in here. There's another strike face that's actually connected to the bolt carrier group that travels right in through here and then sends the bolt carrier rearward. Well, for it to extract that previous spent round, then the springs send it back forward, and that allows it to chamber the next round. But again, right in here, there's a little tiny piston that gets enough gas and travel very little just to have enough momentum and enough energy to send the bolt rearward and come back up. Pretty interesting design, works very, very well. And then with this one, this is much more familiar to like your AK or M1 Garand or, you know, the original STG. So what we've got in this guy is the long stroke piston driven system, which ultimately means that is just one piece of metal connected to the bolt carrier group, and those gases are hitting that piece of metal, and then it sends it rearward, and well, it's all connected to the bolt carrier group. So it's just all these are moving simultaneously, not independently of one another like your short stroke right up here. Pretty cool. Now, one other, you know, how about ease of like maintenance, right? Cleaning purposes, things like that, or clearing malfunctions or something along those lines. For cleaning, honestly, the Tavor You've got a couple of pins and an area in which you can rotate. Right now it's locked, and then you can start to disassemble this gun. But honestly, with it being the long stroke piston driven design that it is, these things run pretty clean. They don't get all that dirty. They're very reliable guns and they work really, really well. In fact, that's why the Israeli army decided to go with this over the M4 or M16 for their standard issue rifle, which is pretty interesting if you ask me. They said that in their trials, this seemed to have done better. Or is it just because it's made in Israel? Let me know your thoughts about that down in the comment section below. So another interesting feature about this guy though is being able to remove the barrel so easily. You'll notice there's a little switch here. You lock the bolt to the rear, hit that switch, rotate the barrel, and it pops right out. Super easy. And if you have any type of malfunctions, double feeds or anything, you want to clear that, instead of having to lock the bolt to the rear like you would on your AR and then trying to, like, you know, jam your fingers up in there to try to clear whatever malfunction it is. Well, quite simply, you can just pull the whole barrel out and shake it, let those rounds fall out, come back in, lock it into place, insert mag, chamber it, go home, right? So there you go. Pretty cool. All right, now that we've talked about all the neat little features that we have on these guns, how do they feel to shoot? That's going to be the biggest thing. So let's take them down range. I've got several mags loaded up, and let's just see what we get. All right, let's start it off with the OG bullpup here. It feels pretty good. So one thing you'll notice when you shoot a bullpup though is it doesn't have like a really precise trigger, okay? But I can tell you it does feel good enough to get the job done, and maybe I'll try to shoot a little bit faster here in just a second. But what you'll notice is, yes, they both have a last round bolt hold open feature, which is great, so that way whenever I go empty like I just did on this gun, again, remember the mag release is back here, I can grab that, drop it, and grab the next mag, insert right back here, and then, well, hit the bolt release just like that. You can slap it just like you do an AR or whatever else is comfortable. And yes, I do plan on actually doing a little bit of a time comparison between which one I might run a little bit quicker. We'll do that here in just a moment. But anyway, as far as a recoil impulse goes, let's just go ahead and just shoot this one. Let's do about 5 rounds as fast as I can here. Let's just for fun, let's see how fast I can get 5 rounds down range, already aiming down. All right, 1.02, let's do another 5. 1.02, so I think I'll just leave it at that since it's the exact same both times. Now you'll notice that there's not a whole lot of muzzle rise here, and it does feel very good to shoot. I mean, honestly, it's just like a subtle little hello, hello. You know, that's pushing you on your shoulder, nothing bad whatsoever. So now that that feels good, let's go ahead and grab the Tavor, see how that feels, and then, I don't know, try out, see how fast I can shoot 5 rounds with it. Then let's try to do some speed reloads. All right, let's see how the Tavor feels in comparison to the AUG. So right off the bat, it's a whole different recoil impulse, really. Even though they're both chambered in 5.56, similar style, that long stroke system has a little bit more reciprocating mass. And because of that, I think it's not so much that you feel it more, it's actually a little bit softer recoiling, and I think that has something to do with maybe the cushion back here, because if you look at the Steyr AUG in comparison, it's just hard plastic. There's not any type of rubber cushion like what's on the Tavor. Okay. So with that though, my recoil impulse is kind of pushing the muzzle instead of up, like with the AUG, which is again still very slight, but it is going up. With the Tavor, it's kind of going to the right. It's kind of interesting. I don't know if you can kind of see my shot placement or not. I'm not going to let it, I'm going to try not to correct it as much, but let's just see if you can see here. I mean, I feel it. That's all there is to it. And of course, I brought myself back on target because it just feels unnatural not to correct that. But that is just, it's interesting. Interesting as to why it feels that way. Now, you will notice too that this is going to be, for me at least, what I predict when I start to do the speed reload, what I predict is that I'll be faster with the Tavor for 2 reasons. One, the mag release. I don't have to actually move my hand up here to release the mag, grab mag, insert mag, send the bolt home. Now what's cool is I can grab my next mag, insert the mag, and then naturally all in one fluid motion, send the bolt home. For me, that positioning for the bolt release to be here and not the mag release is just more natural and more ergonomic in my mind. Let me know what you guys think. Now let's go ahead and try to see about those 5 rounds, and let's just see how many, 1.02 seconds. Can I beat that? Let's find out here. .02. All right, let's try one more time. .94, there we go, finally. That's pretty wild though. So .94, so yeah, this one time I'm a little bit quicker, just for fun. .88, okay, cool. So I'm learning this trigger a little bit faster than I am the Steyr AUG. Which, to be completely fair and honest with you guys, I haven't shot either one of these guns in quite some time. I think we recently did this one for a video not too long ago, but we weren't running like some serious drills or anything. So that's pretty interesting. Anyway, let's go ahead and finish this mag out here. Cool. Now let's go ahead and start having fun with some reloads. Starting off the speed reload with the Steyr AUG. I got 2 rounds in this magazine and then a fully loaded mag. So all I'm gonna try to do is get 3 rounds off as fast as possible without missing. So let's see how we do. Okay, that was 3 rounds and 4.41, one in the chamber. So now let's go ahead and just do that infamous 1R1. So remember 4.41 for my 3 round, because I'll run that same drill with the Tavor. All right, 1 in the chamber, 1 ready to go. Let's do it. Good, both hits, 3.33 for 2 rounds. I feel pretty good with that. Let's do it one more time just for the sake of, I don't know, continuity, consistency, bigger average, I don't know. Let's try it one more time here. And this is a fun little drill for those of you that just want to familiarize yourself with your firearm, work through those types of manipulations of a reload. A lot of people really don't like this because you're kind of setting yourself up for failure, because when are you ever just gonna kind of reload one? Who knows, right? Just go out there, run some drills and have some fun with it. All right, 3.33, let's see if we can beat that. 3.64. All right, so I'm not beating my first score. That's all right. Let's see if I can go ahead and run that with the Tavor. All right, so time to beat for my 3 shot here. 2 shots, reload 1 shot. That's gonna be 4.41. So let's see if we can do that. All right, here we go. Let's do it, Tavor. 3.51, and that was a little slow coming up too. What I shouldn't have done, I don't think, is kind of broken my hold here. I think I should have held it up a little bit more and just kind of run the gun stationary while trying to stay on target. So we'll see how that goes with a couple of the 1R1s. So I did break that though at 3.51. Time to beat was 4.41. So now let's see if I beat that 3.33. Let's have some fun with it and see. 1 in the chamber, empty mag inserted. Let's go. 2.90. I don't think I need to do that again. That just feels a little bit more fluid, and my predictions were correct. With it being, I mean, just because it's fun, I'll do it one more time, but with it being a little bit more familiar to AR controls as far as the magazine drop, and then naturally having the bolt release being on the bottom of the gun instead of the side of the gun, that's a little bit less movement that I have to do. If I were to train myself a little bit better, grab the mag, that beer can style, insert, and then while it's inserted, hitting my thumb there, let's try that, see if I can speed this up a little bit more. Let's see if I can just make it faster here. Do better, Quint. All right, 2.90 is time to beat. .90. So I'm all about consistency today, guys. So 2.90, the Tavor is obviously going to take the win in that situation as far as the 1R1 goes. Easy enough, and it feels good as well. Not catching that. So when it comes down to practicality and even aftermarket support, I think the Tavor kind of takes it home. There are plenty of other manufacturers out there that make all sorts of aftermarket things, extended rails, all that type of stuff for the Tavor. The Steyr AUG, which has been around for 40 years, quite doesn't have that aftermarket support. There is, what's the name again?
Corvus Defensio.
That's right, Corvus Defensio, that actually makes some pretty cool Steyr AUG aftermarket parts if you want to check a look at those guys. If you already have an AUG, if you want to get one. But here's the thing, when I think about these guns, with the Steyr AUG, you have the serious cool factor, right? I mean, this is a legendary bullpup design. This is the bullpup design in my mind. This is what everybody thinks of in my mind when they think, I don't know, if you're gonna go rifle, Die Hard, right? Pretty much all of the James Bond games, Call of Duty, stuff like that. Granted, the Tavor is in there also in a couple of different video games. But as far as pop culture references go, classic, cool style, the Steyr AUG. For, you know, combat, probably the Tavor. At least that's what I've got in my mind. Let me know down in the comment section below, what do you guys think? You know, just one of each, or, you know, if you had to choose only one, which one would you choose? For me, it's probably going to be the Tavor, if I had to choose only one, which I know is painful to say because this gun is just so freaking cool, but it is what it is. Now, we could also do another comparison with other bullpups as well, like the Hellion, the MDRX. There's a few. And also, we didn't suppress these today. So running these with silencers, how fun would that be as well? Maybe you'd want to see that comparison. Let me know down in the comment section below.